So today we're going to be covering Medieval Dynasty, and a little disclaimer at the start here, I did turn on unlimited carry weight and eventually later on quick build as well, just to make the game a little bit quicker. Other than that, we didn't want to make it too easy, so we left the food and water drainage on. So this is another co-op game. I've been playing a lot of co-op games recently, me and Donny Cole playing this one. So we're playing on the Oxbow Lake, and unfortunately, as with most games nowadays, you have to have a session code to join each other. So there doesn't seem to be any intricate character creation, so I'll just go with a standard one if I was you. So upon spawning in, I was rudely assaulted, so it seemed only righteous that I get up and punch back, followed by the inevitable jump around and check all the buttons. They seem quite self-explanatory and what you'd expect from a game of this genre. Upon doing so in the start room, if you climb up, you'll find these goodies here. So now it's time to venture out into the town to search for some quests. There are a few basic survival tips you're going to want first though, and that's cooking some meat, which is one of the quests at the start, and then also fetching water. So any source of water you can drink from, or use a bucket to carry it with you. I quickly discovered after that you can also steal anything that's not nailed down. So during the day you want to go in people's houses and take stuff because they're at work, and alternatively at night take stuff from the outside world because everyone's sleeping. If you do get caught however, your reputation will go down. There doesn't really seem to be any downside to this. So then that brings us on to sleeping. That will speed up your time in game and also heal you, so it's useful to do it. You will need to have everyone sleeping if you're playing co-op. Now you've got the gist and you've done the tutorial basics, you're going to want to head out of town. But before you do,
dancing with us, raise for your and sing with us along. Da, 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 da.
Just make sure to pick up your quests in each town and use the notice board in the main town as well. Leads us on to the most fun part of the game, and that's hunting. So they're basic missions, but I actually find this one of the more enjoyable aspects of the game. When you're working in pairs, it's a lot easier to take on those wolves. At the start, you're going to be hunting rabbits and birds, etc., then working your way up to wolves, and then on to bigger game. Early on, it may be a steep learning curve, but by the end of the game, you're going to be knocking them down all over the place. Once you have killed them and skinned them, don't forget to head back to town to collect your rewards.
Craft your life, claim your fate.
Okay, that's enough of that. Let's head back out of town. So it isn't all hunting. There are some NPC quests and some of them are quite funny. But then again, some of them are also quite annoying, like this fishing quest. There's always that obligatory fishing quest, and this one's no different. But on an upside, as you're adventuring the world as well, you're going to come across a lot of loot on your way to the missions. And as the world is vast and open, there's quite a lot of travel in between points. You're going to want to save your money at the start and not use the caravan, so you're going to be exploring quite a lot. But strangely, as there's a lot to see and do, it doesn't feel that much of a chore. And in my mind, actually, the open world is what gives this game its charm. So why are we running around collecting all these materials and getting money for these quests? Because the object of the game is to settle down, so you pick a spot and then you build your own kingdom. At the start, you're only going to be able to build simple buildings. I'm not going to lie, it's a lot of gathering of resources and chopping down the trees. It does get very monotonous. But as you advance, you'll be happy to know that you can make people your slaves, essentially. I say slave because you don't pay them, but you do sort of pay them, I guess, in wood and food. So around the map, you'll recruit villagers and they'll come to work for you in your town. They'll live in the houses you build, and then they'll work in the hunting lodge, alchemy building, and wherever else you place them, basically. This does mean that you won't have to collect any wood or meat for a while, which is good news. But do remember, these are people and they will have babies and relationships, and then you're going to lose some of your workforce. So don't forget to factor this in when you're building houses and putting families in. Because before you know it, your town's going to take off and be huge, and you're going to have a lot of people living there. There is another upside though. As you progress a bit further, you're going to gain yourself some transport in the vice of a donkey, making exploration a lot easier and cheaper. So you've built your town and done everything else and all the missions. What's next? Well, good news, although the game's been out a while, there is some updates coming still. So we've got as far as we can, and we're going to take a little break and hopefully come back to it at some point. But in the meantime, I guess you could just kill a few bandits if you're waiting on for the updates. Or just build the biggest kingdom you can, I guess. All in all, the game was really enjoyable, but must admit it's lacking a little bit in the story department. I feel like it should be a bit longer. But when your only complaint is, I wish the game was longer, what more can be said? It's a brilliant game, give it a go. And if you've got some friends willing to play it with you, that's probably the best way to play it, and I guess the most enjoyable.